The closer you are to death, the more vibrant life becomes. Wamai. What a perfect quote to start off today's Opera Lore video on Wamai. It's a quote that is as real as it gets. I have a great video for you guys here today, so if you're watching this on the day that this video uploads, I should be in the US Virgin Islands on my honeymoon with my beautiful brand new wife Jess, enjoying the sun. I scheduled this to upload, so if I don't get back to comments right away, that's why. Well, you all know how this goes. Let's start things off as we always do with where and when Wamai was born. So Wamai's real name was actually... yeah, well, what is this? Like, how am I ever going to pronounce this? Naguji Muchoki Furaha? Okay, you guys can't even make fun of me for that one, because that one was ridiculously hard. I don't even know how to begin with that. Well, anyways, he was born on June 1st on the city of Lamu, Kenya. Now, Wamai was born into a fishing family off the coast of Kenya. He was probably put to work at a very early age to help his parents out with the family business, which is, well, fishing. But Wamai wouldn't just catch fish for his parents. He'd also tackle much bigger creatures of the ocean too, like sharks. Apparently sharks don't scare him as much as, normal people would, because he would very frequently catch them and I'm sure sell them off for food and to make some money. But his desires to explore the ocean's waters weren't just limited to catching fish and sharks. He would spend a ton of his free time as a kid diving to the ocean floor of the Lamu archipelago, searching for lost treasures. These treasures would be buried in the ocean floor or in shipwrecks when ships from long ago would sink, carrying all sorts of valuable treasures and items. A good number of battleships from the Great Admiral of China's Zheng He's military fleet sunk in the surrounding areas of what would now be Wamai's home in Kenya, so I'm pretty sure there are a ton of stuff to find and either collect or sell. People started noticing when Wamai was very young that he wasn't like normal people. For some reason, Wamai was able to stay underwater, holding his breath far longer than any other kid in the fishing community, or any adult for that matter, to be honest. People in the community would see how he would not surface from a dive for long periods of time, far longer than anyone else. They started questioning if Wamai was even from this earth, actually believing him to be, well, I'm guessing an alien. Eventually, word would get out about Wamai and medical teams would come out to Lamu, Kenya, where Wamai lived and run experiments on him. After numerous tests were done and completed, they were able to find a physiological abnormality within Wamai's body that allowed him to hold onto oxygen way longer than a normal human. Now, they never go in depth on how this is possible or what abnormality it is that allows him to do this, but my guess would be something to do with either the heart or the lungs though. Anyways, come to find out that Wamai isn't an alien anymore. Darn. Moving on, Wamai grew up and was now a young adult looking to leave the fishing community where he spent the entirety of his life at. He would decide to enlist into the Kenyan Navy, complete basic training, and then transition into the Kenya Special Boat Unit for the Navy. He would absolutely flourish in the Special Boat Unit, as free dives and training centered around that was very commonplace. Of course, again, like back in the Lamu fishing community, Wamai would become a legend in the Navy for his ability to hold his breath and stay underwater far longer than any of his military peers. He would be well known even with the generals of the Navy and the scientific community all across the world, all running tests to truly see how he was able to do this. World record dive after world record dive, his popularity would only increase. That popularity is probably the reason why he is in the place he is today, because I'm sure Gemini, Calamo, and Shaw, or Cali, would have never been able to find him if not for his abilities. Eventually, Cali would recruit Wamai into NIGHTHAVEN with the promise of a more relaxed schedule than the Kenyan Navy and a private boat for him to take out whenever he wants for any dives he'd like to do. And that's how Wamai joined NIGHTHAVEN. Now, Wamai would become Cali's second in command with the private military company that she founded, frequently negotiating multi-million-dollar contracts ranging from everything you can think of. Money heist, protection, combat, you name it. If the price was high, NIGHTHAVEN would respond. Every once in a while, they'd also do things just for the sake of being good people, probably for PR and popularity, to be honest. For example, when a super tanker named the Argus was shipping goods across the ocean, they were attacked by heavily armed pirates, like I'm talking assault rifles and RPGs heavily armed. Cali, Wamai, and the rest of NIGHTHAVEN at the time responded to the distress signal, putting their lives on the line in an effort to rescue the super tanker Argus. After a very quick battle, all pirates were neutralized, partially because Wamai used his magnet disc to grab an RPG that was hurling right at one of NIGHTHAVEN's helicopters and deflected it right back at this small boat that it fired from. Badass. Well, after news broke out that they saved the Argus, Harry and the director of 6 of Team Rainbow would form an alliance with NIGHTHAVEN, allowing them and all future members to become part of Team Rainbow. Even against Ash's words of advice, he went ahead and did it. So since Wamai was the second in command on NIGHTHAVEN, welcome to Rainbow Six Siege, Wamai. Now here's a psychological evaluation that Harry completed on Wamai when they first met and were able to sit down and talk about, well, everything. Let's listen in as we read what Harry had to say about Wamai after the interview. Quote, talking to specialist Ngugi Muchoki Wamai Furaha, again, I don't know how to freaking say that, is like talking underwater. Words are exchanged, but it's not certain that meaning follows. Surprisingly, I find myself refreshed by our exchanges. That's a purity that comes with free association, with being able to jump from one abstract concept to the next. Furaha senses too that other people are likely to get lost. At the moments where I find myself most without an anchor, his quick smile and change of topic reassure me that we have not gone beyond all human thought, never to return. It makes me question whether I should be more flexible in my thought processes, quickly by wondering, if I were, who would I become? The existential questions raised by someone who spends their free time anoxic are those that we ask ourselves often, and perhaps deprived of Furaha's particular sensitivity to these topics. I'm not certain I see value in them. His unaccustomed approach results in strategies that are completely alien. Furaha's ability to conceptualize 3D space is not just the horizontal, but the vertical is something I've only seen in most obsessive of pilots. Yet, his internal dimension is surprisingly absent. I once spoke with a renowned monk who had spent his life in pursuit of quote-unquote complete zero. In him, I saw the same depth of being I see now in Furaha, and where many people's spirituality serves to shore up those parts of their personality that they most admire. Theirs is the inverse. Furaha's life is a service to his spirituality, and Noxia is part of his addiction. In all of my consultations, I strive for neutrality. Furaha is a talented operator, capable, intelligent, and unpredictable. His ability to put a room at ease is invaluable, yet one never has the sense that they hold the whole picture of him in their mind. Like the nitrogen that must disperse back into the diver's body before resurfacing, Furaha's true nature is diffuse. To define him would be to limit him, and I have the distinct sense that there is nothing he would despise more. Signed, Dr. Harishva Harry Pandey, Director of Team Rainbow. I always love reading those evaluations. Whoever the person is that writes them at Ubisoft does such a good job, to be honest. This one was pretty deep. Anyways, let's move on to the device evaluation completed by Emmanuel Pichon, or better known to us as Twitch, on Wamai's Magnet Frisbee. It starts off by Twitch addressing to Mira that Callie isn't letting anyone get super close or really truly examine even Wamai's magnet disc, not even just the lance that Callie uses. But somehow Fuse and Wamai have been becoming very good friends lately and spending tons of time together in the shoot house together practicing drills and strategies. Twitch is sounding like she kinda wants Fuse to start gathering intel, almost like spying on the operators of NIGHTHAVEN, because Fuse is having a good relation with them, and then taking tabs on the technology funded by the organization. But as for the Magnet Frisbee, it has these things called neodymium magnets that pull objects with a sufficient enough source of a magnetic pull and brings it to the Frisbee. It's kind of like a Mozzie pest, where after it gains a hold of a device it was meant to capture, it destroys itself so that no enemy would be able to learn on how it is made and honestly how to stop it then. The Magnet Frisbee has technology where it breaks apart the object to catchers along with itself and, well, blows it up, leaving no trace of the device. It also kind of reminds me of Dokubi's logic bomb, where she intentionally wrote the code that hacks the enemy's devices to destroy and delete itself after a few seconds to erase all evidence of its existence, making it harder to learn how to combat that. Now, it also doesn't hurt without saying that in the second annual Tournament of Champions in 2021, as soon as Ash punched Callie in the face and they got in the fight, Wamai would be the first one to pull Callie back and really stop her from truly retaliating at Ash. I believe if Wamai wasn't there at that exact second, the fight between Ash and Callie and maybe the civil war between Team Rainbow and NIGHTHAVEN would have been probably much worse or drastically intensified if Callie would have even gotten a few punches in, leading to a bigger fight. So thank you, Wamai, for making that not happen and getting everyone to, once again, like Harry said in the psychological evaluation, to ease the room when he told everybody to knock it off. Other than that, I think we're all done with Wamai's lore. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe notifications if you're new. Now with all that being said, Jeppy out.